Brooks had been released on parole earlier this year, but it was parole that he breached and became a fugitive. Then he taunted police with a series of catch me if you can style videos he posted online.
Come and find me. I challenge you. I still haven't been caught and I'm still here. Get your together, you still haven't found me, you
I guess I got caught, didn't I?
Detectives eventually arrested Brooks in South Australia. He was extradited to New South Wales and ordered to serve the remainder of his sentence here at Goulburn Prison. But the man who describes himself as a Ned Kelly-style figure now wants reform to the education programs within the prison system. So, having now served his complete sentence, David Brooks is a free man with no supervising conditions on his release.
Hi, I'm David. I've turned my life around from walking on the dark side through prisons, motorcycle clubs, crime, drugs, and I'm on a path to change my life. I didn't plan to be a criminal. It just kind of eventuated. Basically, the gateway was drugs. Whether you're criminal or whether you're drugs will take you on the criminal path. Just taking drugs is criminal behaviour. And once you're high on drugs and that, you lose your connection with society and reality, and you start to, you are who you associate with.
Interesting. And who did you associate with?
Other drug users. Other drug users, and then people start doing crime and stuff. But drugs was like the gateway to the criminal world, because naturally you've got a choice when you're on drugs. You either go out and steal, rob people to support your habit. I didn't really like doing that because I was a people person. So I networked by selling drugs, and that's criminal behaviour. I first started taking drugs at 15, 14, even 13. It's hard to put an age on it. It was just just a big mess. It was I don't know. It was just we done it as a youth. We partied, we drunk on the weekends, and it was just a social thing. And then as I got older, it was a way of coping, and I started increasing my use and heavier use.
How did you first find speed? How did it come into your life?
As a kid, it was just a powder form.
So did someone give it to you, or?
Yeah, it's one of the older kids had it, and then
At school?
kind of after school or after football training, and just people we drank with and that, and it's just it was just a thing in the town I grew up in, like heavy metal music, drinking, speed, smoking pot. It was just a thing you done for entertainment.
And show us your neck tat there. I think you're a bit quite proud of where you come from.
Yeah, Newcastle.
Newcastle,
Yeah.
north of Sydney.
Yep.
And you went to jail. When was that?
The first time I went, I was a kid. I went in at 14 into a place called Warramai, which is in Newcastle, which is for the bad kids.
So it's a youth detention centre,
yeah.
a YOI, as they call them in the UK, Young Offenders Institution.
Yeah, pretty well, yeah, juvenile detention. And I first went in for charges that were quite ridiculous, like they don't exist anymore. I went in what's called an uncontrollable child, which is a social welfare complaint, whereas a welfare used to charge the kids for being naughty rather than the parents for knocking, and I was deemed an uncontrollable child. I suppose my life fell apart at the age of 6 years of age, because I lost my father. I was adopted as a kid. I lost my father and through cancer, and my mother lost the plot. She was left with 3 young children, and she was very cold emotionally, and didn't get that nurturing, and it wasn't a very loving environment. Like there was no physical contact, or her form of love was just to put food on the table, clothes, and an education. And from then, it was very volatile at home. She was very strict and disciplined us in a physical way.
Did you have siblings?
Yes, I had a younger brother and a younger sister, who my sister down from me was adopted, and then my younger brother was my my mother and father's natural child. I grew up with them, but I'll jump forward a bit. My younger brother, we lost him when I was 19. He was 16 through suicide, and it's all these factors, all the loss in my life and stuff. Kind of, I found a refuge and comfort in using drugs, and there was a lot of party drugs. It was like ecstasy and MDMA, acid. There was cocaine. They're just uppers, just things that made you feel good. I never got into the downers.
And how long were you in juvie?
A few months at that stage, but the damage juvie done to me at that stage was it put me in contact with hardened criminals. I was locked up with murderers.
So what age ranges were you locked up with?
Basically between 13 to 19.
Okay. And you were, 14.
14. 14. I was 14 and 9 months. I think I turned 15 inside because I remember I wasn't allowed to go to school because I was 14 and 9 months. It's the cut-off age of school. I love school and they wouldn't let me. So I missed out 3 months of school while I was locked up. So probably 3 months. It was very scary as a kid because I was so young and there's a big age difference between a 14-year-old and an 18-year-old. I couldn't really physically defend myself. Like, how does a 14-year-old kid defend a 18-year-old? So I learnt new skill sets of, I decided to be the funny one in there, or I entertained the others, or I done things that won the approval of other people without having to resort to violence, or because I was incapable of it. It's,
Were there any good role models in juvie for you?
Depends what you call good. I learned how to rob a bank. Honestly, we played in the bank robbery in juvie because back in those days there was this bloke telling me about a country town and the cops weren't there on a Friday or something and we'll take them an hour to get there and we'll play robbing the bank, but it never happened. But good role models, not really, no.
No good sort of father figures?
There was a teacher from my old high school that come in there and took some of the kids cross country running, and I kind of like tried to hide when he came in because I was embarrassed, because I liked the teacher. I was like a good student at school, so there was, but nothing that made a significant change to my life or anything back then. Like it was a pretty scary place, to tell you the truth, when you're that young. After juvie, like I tried to finish school. I was in foster care, and I never really went back to home until I was like 18, 19. I've had a few little stints there, but I've come out of juvie and I've entered the system where I went through another part of my life where I went through sexual abuse as a young boy, and that's another determining factor of a lot of trauma in my life. And sometimes that trauma doesn't reappear until much years later because we find ways to mask it. Like I got married young, and I thought the marriage, that was the path I wanted in my life, but because I wasn't healed properly and stuff, it was a recipe for disaster.
Were you a good husband?
I thought I was, but I did make a lot of mistakes. I put more focus on financially securing the family and working and building a business and company, and I fell down in that area. In retrospect, I should have put more time into the family rather than financial. So,
but that's the role model that you were presented with by your mother, wasn't it?
Pretty well, and I did, and I fell short. Like I tried to be the best father I could, but after my marriage broke up and that, I was an absent father, and for a lot of years, basically, I didn't have contact with my kids. Not entirely through my doing, but I could have pushed it a little harder. But I was pretty well broken, and
how old were you when your marriage broke up?
Probably 27 at the start. I got married at 23. probably about 28. And it honestly shattered me and put me. I went back to drugs, and in a bigger and badder way. And I actually had an overdose at that time. First Easter without my kids, and I was just a mess. I was a train wreck, and I went on a drug binge. I didn't care what it was, and started off with speed, then it was pills and alcohol, and in the end I had some heroin, and then I don't use heroin, and it didn't agree with me. I found myself in the hospital, face down in a gutter. Pretty well dead, and a taxi driver took me to the hospital. The RPA in Sydney, I think it was, the one at Alexandra there. And I remember coming to, and they put charcoal in me and a drink like salt water, and I don't know what it was. It was a horrible experience. It was a bit of a wake-up call, but it didn't take me off drugs. It just put me away from heroin. I didn't touch heroin again for a while. In my early 30s, I've just broken up. Late 20s with my wife moved back from Melbourne up to New South Wales. My mother was dying of cancer. My mother brought me up, so I was living with my mother, trying to care for her the best I could. I got to spend some quality time with her, and we both healed some wounds from when we were younger. But then when I lost her, I spiraled again. I always worked in my trade as a concreter, played sport and that, but outwardly it looked like I was coping and working, but I was a mess inside. So yeah, I made a financial mess of myself, and that's around the time I started to come across. I decided to go down the bikie path. It started out as an interest in bikes. Around the time my mum died, I felt alone and lost and stuff, and then I had a friend, a really good friend of mine, who died from an overdose, and he was like a brother in that, and so I suppose after his death, I was looking for family, and I went around with another friend who was also a friend of mine of the guy who died. His name's Bikie, Jason Burkett, is my friend who died. So I went with another friend, and we joined the club together, and I found the family and the brotherhood.
So did you approach them? I mean, how does that stuff work? Can you give us a brief overview?
We just knew people who knew people, and there's no like application process, but there's you got to just kind of hang around them for a while and party with them. Then they ask you on board, and then you go for another period where you got to prove yourself. So it's just a process. Like nothing's intentional. Like it's not like a job interview.
But you did jail time for one of the clubs that you're a member of.
One that I did. There's a controlled operation, and I played my part in it, and the whole time we thought we were dealing with other people, I won't say criminals, but business people, and they were undercover detectives from the gang task force. I'm a little bit dirty with what happened there, because the actual stuff we were dropping to them and selling to them, they had approached us, and at the time it wasn't illegal. It was synthetic, so you find the tobacconists, like the chronics and synthetic speeds and stuff, and basically they kept on changing the laws and putting new things on the schedule. And when I was delivering it to these people, I had them in my car seat, unconcealed, sitting next to me, driving down, happy as Harry, and then dropping it to them, and when I ended up getting charged for all this down the track, I couldn't believe it. I thought, no, I'll be right. That stuff wasn't illegal, but yeah, I won't go into it, but there's a few technicalities. They stitched us up.
And how did you get out of those clubs?
It wasn't easy. I was a little bit luckier than some. I kind of just
But you got out good, didn't you?
pretty well. Like, it wasn't easy. Like, there was I won't go into too much into it, but there was it was painful at times. Put it that way. It's like it's not. You soon realise that brotherhood's not the brotherhood that you join. Like yeah, it's not easy to get out of these clubs. It really isn't.
How much focused on bikes are they in community and how much on crime? Because what we hear in the mainstream media is, has a very distinct agenda, doesn't it?
It does. The first club I was with was very focused on bikes. Believe it or not, it was all about riding. Yeah, you basically had to have a bike. There was before the laws changed, there was runs with the club, like you all ride together. You had to have a certain kind of bike, and you had to have a Harley Davidson. Basically, it had to be a V-twin, and it had to be over a certain size. That's where there's a public misconception. I will say clubs aren't focused on crime, but there's a lot of criminals in clubs, and when they have club meetings, they're not sitting down discussing crime, because it's a stupid thing to do, because any smart criminal knows that if you're going to do a crime, the least people that know about things, the better. It's basically giving yourself up. If you've got a lot of people, more ears, then there's more chances that someone's going to dob you in or talk. So the meetings in clubs were more or less centred on club events, club politics, but weren't sitting down plotting and planning crimes.
And I think that's what people think they do.
They do, yeah. I'm sure a lot of it goes on behind closed doors and not for years, unless you're involved in that actual thing. You don't hear about it. So, yeah. But they're not criminal organisations as such. They're organisations with criminals.
In it.
Yeah, yes.
But it's a big difference, really.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah. Let's have a look at some of the crazy moments in your past life. Tell us about the time you chased your cousin with an axe, just to give an example of what your lifestyle was really like when you were a big drug user.
Well, at this stage, like, I'd let a cousin of mine stay in my house, her and her boyfriend, and I won't say her name, she knows who she is and she'll remember the incident. And I'd come up to Queensland for a while, and she was looking after my house, and like, I just got out of jail from, I think the last time I was in, I had Raptor and all the police watching me. My name was a red flag, my residence was a red flag, so I'd actually left the state and tried to just cool things down for myself. And so my cousin-in-law, her wisdom, had moved into my house and turned it into a trap house. She had all of Newcastle's underbelly were knocking on the door of my flat. I'd come back down to visit. They go, "What are you doing here?" I go, "I live here. This is my house." She had a heap of stolen stuff in my house. It was boxes and stuff, and I just got pissed off at her because I had police knocking on my door, and then they realised they didn't even they were asking where my cousin was, and I said, and I ended up saying to the cop, "Listen, she's not here anymore." I chased her out with an axe.
Okay, so were you under surveillance? Was the house under surveillance, or was she, or was it all of the above? Or what was the heat situation?
It was all above, all of the above, but she made the house red hot. Like, I was happy to be under surveillance because I wasn't doing anything. I was cleaning my life up, but she's just come and put all this heat back on me. So,
and that's what happens when if you say that you want to change your life, but you don't move away from you don't get rid of all the people. That's
Yeah.
what happens, isn't it?
Yeah, well, at that stage, I wasn't fully committed to changing my life, but I was definitely wanted to tone things down, and I wanted to lose the police interest in me, and I just wanted to fly under the radar, and I was still using drugs myself and that, but not in a manner where not creating trap houses and having half the neighbourhood come around to my house, so she kind of put heat back onto me. She ruined my accommodation there of housing. Like I lost housing because of all this activity. In retrospect, it's kind of a good thing, because after that, and of a few other contributing factors, I up and left Newcastle, and it just wasn't the smartest thing in the world for someone to do. You got a older cousin who's known to police, has had interest in him in every task force around, to go set up a trap house at his residence, because if you're a criminal, I'm talking about not just like a street criminal, but if you're a professional criminal, the last thing you want to do is bring it to your home. Your house is your house. It's your castle. She's done that and more. And when people are knocking on your door and say, "What are you doing here?" and I'm going, "I live here," and there's some major players from around town, and so I kind of lost it. Well, my intention wasn't to I wasn't going to axe her. My intention was to just get her out. Just get out of my place.
What was your lowest point?
I don't know. There was lots of low points. There was lots of low points. I don't know. Going to jail, that wasn't a low point. That was just part and parcel. My low point was realising you've lost some good friends along the way, a normal life. I remember one day walking past the pub on a Sunday afternoon. There was all people out there happy, having a wine and a beer garden and a band playing, and I thought, I miss that lifestyle. I can't even. That's so far away from where I am now. I'm just fried.
What does it feel like when normal people turn their backs on you and walk away from you because they can't cope with who you've become? How does that feel?
At the time, I didn't care. I really didn't care. I think, but down the track, it is a concern, and I've repaired a lot of friendships, and I understood why they walked away, because I would have too. So the further I sunk into that, I never lost touch with understanding where I'd come and where I was there because I wanted to be. I don't know. I felt I was punishing myself. I felt like I didn't deserve happiness, and that was my lot in life. It was like self-hatred, self-exile, and I used to deliberately push a lot of people away from me because I didn't want them in my world or hurt. So.
And which jails have you been to, and how much jail time have you done total?
In actual jail time, only a couple of years over, plus what I've done as a kid. And, but I've been to Goulburn, Silverwater, MWRC, Windsor, John Maroney, South Coast in Nowra. As a kid, I spent time in Maitland holding cells a fair bit, they were dungeons. Would include Warramai. I'm trying to think if there's anything where else I went along the way.
Each time you came in and out, how did that make you feel? What does jail do to a person?
Jail, it can make you realise how vulnerable you are as a person. It can make you realise how insignificant you are. Everything in there's jail basically same as the real world, but condensed down where everything's amplified. Everything's amplified. So you got to be very conscious of if something's angering you, or you don't walk around swearing, and because it can set other people off. Like, what the hell are you angry at? And it makes you aware of how you speak to people. If you can, things can go very wrong very quickly in there. No matter who you are, everyone's vulnerable, and everyone can be got, and you got to be more aware of your surroundings. You can never become complacent. So, as I said, everything in there is amplified.
I've heard someone say that long-term prisoners become experts in reading body language. Would you agree with that?
Oh, definitely. And not only body language, also the tones and people's voices. They become experts in like they can spot a play a mile away. Like you might be working an angle to be very nice or something, but they'll see it a mile away, and you'll get caught for what it is. There's no pulling the wool over people's eyes there. Jail's a funny place, because in jail, if you go into someone's cell and steal something, it could be something silly like some toothpaste or something that's known as pedophilia, and you'll get severely dealt with, and you're in a den of thieves, and if you thieve from the thieves, it's
So people who are locked up for, burglaries, thieving, robs, whatever, they come to jail and they can't do what they do.
They can't do it, no. Some do try, and they get dealt with.
So they learn that pretty quickly.
They learn that pretty quickly. Yeah, they do learn it quickly, yeah.
Why were you on the run?
Okay.
We should go into that story.
Yeah, I got out of jail in 2017. I was given 12 months parole, where I had to report to probation and parole. I think it was once a month or twice a month. They cut it back as I was going on. I was 9 months down the track. I had applied for university in Western Australia, which I'd accepted. And then they said I couldn't go and leave the state. So I left the state anyway. And I got breached for leaving the state.
You couldn't have waited till the parole finished?
No.
Why not?
Well, when you think about it, they wanted me to stay in the town with all my associates and all the people I knew. When I wanted to go away, change my life, walk into the academic world, totally learn new skills, and I thought it was quite stupid. I thought, I'll just slip away for 3 months there.
So why couldn't they parole you to somewhere else? It can be done.
I don't know. It's only 3 months to go, and I was kind of...
So you couldn't wait 3 months? Seriously?
No, I didn't wait 3 months. But I was getting away with it until there was a bunch of shootings in Newcastle, and then the police were looking for me, and they were going around to my family's places.
What? So they were looking for you because they thought you might be the culprit because you were on parole?
They thought no, because it was a Bikie issue, and they were rounding up people from those clubs, and they hadn't known I wasn't in the club no more. And they were hitting my cousins' houses and my friends' houses and looking for me. And then my cousin complained to me, call me, we've had Raptor around here. And I said, I rang up Raptor that afternoon from
Just explain for the audience what Raptor is.
Raptor's the gang task force. It's a specialised unit of the police that deals... They're a gang up in themselves, and they have to be, because if you go up against a bunch of bikies and stuff, you can't go in half-hard and say, please stop, so they come in hard. They're Ninja Turtles, wear all the gear, balaclavas, and they're pretty scary when you're on the receiving end of them. But, so going through my family's and friends' houses, I've actually rang them up and said, listen, leave my family alone, I've got nothing to do with these things, these shootings, whatever. I only know about them from on the news.
Did they know who you were when you rang them up?
Yeah, well, straight away. Because I'd been arrested before from the controlled operation by Raptor for that sentence I just served. I said, I'm interstate. I'm at university and I gave my student number and the campus and they verified it, but then next minute parole, they go, does parole know you? I go, no. And because with parole, I kept them thrown off. Like,
So obviously you weren't needing to report in person at that stage.
no, I was ringing up and saying I'm here, there.
And phone calls were enough.
Yeah, and I was kind of getting away with it, but then once I actually said I'm over interstate, well, the parole said to me, well, you can come back. You come back and you've got to go outside for 6 weeks and have a parole hearing. And I said, by that time I would have failed uni. Like, I can't just have 6 weeks out. And anyway, so that's why I started. So I went on a campaign against, because I'd been harassed a lot I felt harassed by police, getting pulled over, searched, the whole lot. So I just took everything out on it. But what a lot of the public didn't see, I was campaigning for prison reform, a reform in the child welfare system, and just basically public reform all across the board.
Can we just digress for a minute into what it's like being known to police? Because you obviously were very well known to police at that time, and that's what caused all this sort of attention on you. Once you become known to police, can you just talk on that for a couple of minutes?
Okay, when you become known to police, it's a nightmare. It is an absolute nightmare. If you think you're going to get away with doing criminal stuff, you won't.
What does it take to become known? Like, how far do you have to go or do things to do?
I don't know. Like they had their bee in their bonnet with me. Believe it or not, one of the things that I think upset them was my habit of attacking pedophiles. I think that upset police a bit. I don't know why, but I won't go into that. I've got my theories, but I believe they're their eyes and ears on the street. But that's just me. But being known to police, okay, I'll give an example. I'll be driving down and I have friends in my car. I get pulled over, and I'd say to my friends, what's going to happen here? I'd hand my license. The cop would go back to his car, and he wouldn't come back with my license. He'd sit in the car and lock himself in there. Next minute, 4 or 5 police cars would come, and there was an incident. And I'd say to my friends, that's what's going to happen. They go, nah. And it happened like nearly every time. A lot of times I was approached with their guns drawn on me. I strip searched in public. My cars were pulled apart. Seats, everything. I had dogs run through my car. And I have dogs for firearms and dogs for drugs. And basically your life was different. Like, I remember another time I was driving through Newcastle going somewhere, and this cop's next to me playing cat and mouse with me. And I pulled over. I pulled myself over, and he pulled up next to me, and he goes, what'd you pull over for? And I go, that saves you doing it or something. He goes, well, that's what you get when you're a bikie. And I said, well, I had a few pleasantries with him and told him to go and get, and then he just took off. So yeah, your life was different. It was I don't know how many times my house got raided. Just constant pressure from it. Yeah.
And were they making up BS excuses to get a warrant to raid you?
Yes and no. But I never got charged out of any of those things. They didn't find anything that was that I got charged for. So.
And were they pretty rough raids? Like, were they destroying, ripping through and destroying your belongings, or?
I wouldn't say that, but they were pretty thorough. And but sometimes, like, I had a pet snake on stage, so I have snakes, and I was reading about all these people getting caught with snakes in their houses when they got raided and they get charged on top of that. But I was licensed for reptiles, and I remember pulling the snake out and putting it up in front of him and gone strike.
Did they make you?
No, I just done it.
Oh.
Yeah, strike force rifle. I didn't want to have a look at this enclosure, and put that away, and yeah. But I don't know.
And how long did it take that heat to die down within your life? That attention to go away?
It took 5, 6 years, 7 years. Like the last couple of years, it's been good. I moved into state because you mentioned the FPO, the Firearms Prohibition Order, and that. That's on me for life. Except
What is an FPO exactly?
well, there's a fire prohibition order and a weapons prohibition order. So if I get caught with a firearm, ammunition, or anything on a prohibited weapons list, it's an automatic jail. I think 5 years or something before I even get charged with the offence of having that, plus the offence of that weapon, because I've contravened the order. But it gives them the right to search any house, any premises that I'm in, any vehicle I'm in, can be detained without charge. It restricts your freedoms, and it's they do it to keep people, as the Daily Telegraph described me and a couple of other criminals at the time, gangsters lifetime on a chain or something. They put a chain on you. It's to rein you in. It's for life in New South Wales. I can apply down the track or something to the minister or something. It'd be pointless.
Well, it's like Evelyn Waugh said, give you a line and you can go to the ends of the earth, but we can pull you back with a twitch upon the thread.
Pretty well, yes, but within New South Wales. So now I'm in Queensland.
So it's only state-based.
It's state-based. I suppose Queensland could put one on me if they see me as a threat. You don't need to be charged. They just have
Suspicion or
reasonable
grounds. What they call reasonable grounds.
Reasonable grounds, yeah. But I've got no offences in Queensland. I'm living a straight and narrow life. I've renounced all my criminal ways and activities, and that's where I've changed my life. Totally changed my life. So
that's okay. So let's go back to when you were in WA doing uni and you went on the run.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Well, as I said, like I said to my parole, no, I'm not coming back. I'll handle myself in. And I remember saying to the parole lady, I'll be in the newspapers with all this. I'm going to kick up a fuss. I'll be like you'll see me in the news because of this. And she goes to me, "You're delusional." And I said, "I'm delusional." No, I said, "You'll see." I just hung up on her.
Did that get you back up when she said that?
Pretty well. And so within 2 days I was in the Sydney Morning Herald, and then the next minute Channel 9's reached out, and newspapers have picked up the story, and I kind of got swept away with it. I played the character a bit, like putting on a balaclava and doing things, and I didn't need the balaclava. They all knew my head. There's a lot of things that the paper didn't see. Because I was actually working part of my way through that, on construction sites throughout Melbourne and stuff, so I full on went on with it. I remember I was working in a town, Terralgan, something in Victoria, up near Sale. I saw cops in a shopping centre, and I've deliberately walked past them, and then when I got round the corner I just rang, and I knew that they clicked. There was a delayed reaction. I was just gone. So I was doing stuff like that deliberately, that things that the papers didn't see. I was just playing. I knew I was going to get caught. So I was just trying to make the most out of it while I could.
And you started putting posts on Facebook, I think it was, social media?
Facebook, YouTube. I was putting posts out about telling people how to deal with when they get caught. Like no comments, and you had the right to remain silent, and all that kind of advice. Put out my own legal advice. The guy on the run put out legal advice.
But the mainstream media still skewed the narrative that you were a bad man on the run and we had to catch him.
Yeah, I knew they would. The thing is, I didn't commit any other offences on the run. I wasn't none that I got caught for, which is like I was just trying to put a point out, like I was just trying to stir up a storm and have a bit of a laugh back at Raptor at the time. And you know what? It wasn't the smartest thing I'd done. I wouldn't recommend anyone to do the same thing, but at the time it felt right for me.
Fair enough. For someone who's just about to go to jail for the first time, what's the best advice you could give them?
The best advice is, well, this is just pretty common standard advice. Don't do drugs in jail unless you pay for them. Like, don't pick drugs up, don't get involved in the politics. Just be yourself. You know, people don't just automatically change from who they are. Like, if you're a happy-go-lucky person and, you know, and it's your personality, you know, don't be afraid to play cards with people or get along with people, you know, just be yourself. And unless you've got something to hide, or you're in there on a crime that's not a very good socially accepted crime, well then you've got nothing to fear.
So do you feel like you have now become the person that you're meant to be? Or...
I'm on my way. Like, I've always been, no matter where I've been in my life, I've always been me. And
are you learning to let go of the anger and trauma?
I'm learning to let go of anger. I'm learning to let go of trauma. I'm learning to let go of anger in general, because holding on to anger, it's only detrimental to your own mental health. It's only to hold on to negative energy. I learned that negative energy attracts negative energy, and positive energy repels negative energy. Like, I've forgiven a lot of people in my life because that frees me. By not forgiving people, you're holding on. They still own a piece of you. You just have to let go of things, you know, and
you have to clear space to let positivity in.
You absolutely have to clear space, and you also have to acknowledge and own what you've done in your life as well, and that's for yourself. Because once you acknowledge what you've done and own what you've done, then you can forgive yourself. And a lot of people don't know how to forgive themselves, and they carry guilt and shame forward with them. And, you know, if you need to go and apologise to someone, apologise to them. If you need to apologise to them and they won't listen, apologise to them from within, and let go of that baggage.
So do you feel you're getting stronger in that sense?
Oh, very stronger. Like, I'm advising some of my friends at the moment, like, don't worry that they've done this, don't worry they've done that. You know, like, vengeance is it's just being dragged into their energy. You know, like, just let it go. Just let it go. Your heart will be, you'll lift your own self, you lift your own presence, you lift your own, you know, your own energy. Also, rediscovering a different set of values and ethics and that, on how to live my life. You know, like, you know inside what's right and wrong. You don't need laws, or you know if you're interfering with someone else's space and that, and you know what you're doing. And I've learned to just live focusing on my life and my energy, and hopefully I can put out enough positive energy to lift those around me.
And what does the future look like for you now? What are you looking forward to?
I'm just looking forward to completing my studies, but...
And you're studying full-time now, aren't you?
Full-time, yes, but actually, I'm not looking forward to completing them. I'm looking forward to carrying them on, because when I first started on my university journey this time, I was focused on the degree, but I'm looking at going beyond the degree. I'm looking at doing postgraduate studies at this early stage, because that's my zone, that's my happy zone, that's why I feel accepted there. It's a positive environment. The difference between university and jail and university and school is everyone at university wants to be there. No one's forced to be there. Like, we're forced to be at school, we're forced to be at jail, but only people who are really there are the ones who want to be there, and everyone's focused on achieving results, and so it's a good environment to be around. So I think I mentioned this before. Like, I feel the answer to if you're down the path of drugs and this and that, don't get me wrong, rehab works for some people, but for me, focusing on the way forward rather than on the problem, because rehab just focuses on the problem. And I've replaced the need to like feel good through drugs, through feeling good through studies and achievement, you know, through knowledge, through learning. And while my mind's focused going forward, I don't look backwards, you know. I did mention before, like at the moment now, a semester break's coming. That's my danger time. Like I could go back and slip in the old habits, but I've decided to focus on learning outside the university, and I want to learn a language. So at the moment I'm trying to learn Auslan. Yeah.
So you're creating new habits, in other words.
Yeah, create positive habits.
Nice.
You know,
And is there anything else you'd like to say to the viewers?
basically my whole message in life is what I'm trying to do with my life is not tell people what to do, but show people what is possible. Like to move forward, and anyone out there who's got no hope or lost hope, never give up, and it's never too late. No matter where you are in your life, it's just change. This is my catchphrase really. You're just a decision away from a new life, because everything starts with a decision. Once you decide to move forward, your life will change. I'm not doing this I don't want to win friends or favour or anything. I'm doing it because I feel in my heart it's the right thing to do, to share my journey and just to go forward.
Thanks very much, David.
Thank you.